Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Squire J Mascis Jazzmaster. If you're anything like me, you love checking out new gear and you're always wondering kind of what else is out there. And for me, I've been really wanting to get into a Jazzmaster guitar for quite some time now. I've been looking at maybe building one myself from Warmoth or MJT or something like that, or maybe buying a used parts caster, but having not owned a Jazzmaster before and been really curious about it, I've been trying to find an entry into the Jazzmaster world. Now, if you're probably here because you too are looking at Jazzmasters and might be curious about this one. This one has kind of a cult following, I don't know all the details, you can find other videos for that. It was made kind of in like 2012-ish or something like that, and they did a run of them. And then I think they discontinued them for a time, but now they're starting to sell them new again. I picked this up new from Guitar Center just a couple days ago. They had one in stock, and it was the only one. But I picked it up and I played it, and I've gotta say, like many others out there, I really like it. And for $500 out the door, I think there was a 10% coupon or something like that, this thing really is a steal. And so what my plan is for it is I'm going to use this as kind of an upgrade platform. What I'm going to do is probably most likely eventually replace the pickups, maybe the pick guard, replace the vibrato, replace the bridge, replace the neck, replace the body, and replace basically everything. And then as I do that, kind of get towards the end, just convert that into a new guitar, and then convert this back into, you know, the stock specs or whatnot, so then I'll have two Jazzmasters. But it'll give me kind of a platform to build on top of and play with moving forward. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do think if you didn't want to upgrade a single thing on this guitar, could you just pick it up from Guitar Center, tune it, and bring it on stage and play it on a Sunday morning at your church? And the answer to that question is definitely yes. This thing does not need a single upgrade, though there are many that would be useful or helpful, but right out of the box, this thing can play well, it feels really good, and it can do the Sunday thing, it can do the church thing, it can do the praise and worship thing. And so I'm gonna actually show you some sound examples from some tones that I dialed in for this upcoming weekend at my church. So this guitar is bone stock. Like I said, I did not do a thing to it. It still has the plastic on the pickup covers, and the hang tag I just took off, and I didn't do a thing. I didn't change intonation. I didn't change the action. I didn't do anything. All I did is tune it up and plug it into my pedal board. Speaking of, I'm running through my full pedal board rig with dual ToneX pedals, running tone factors, captures. One of them's a Benson, and the other one's their free AC30. I love this amp combo, but you can see my pedal board here, and this is what I'm running through for my sound demos. So as you heard, this guitar can totally do the praise and worship thing. I think it does it really well, as a matter of fact. These stock pickups are very interesting. They're unique. They're kind of described a little bit more like P90s than traditional Jazzmaster pickups. I am curious, very curious, to actually change these out. That might be one of the first things I do, is just swap the pick guard, swap the pickups in them, and try something a little bit more traditional Jazzmaster. For me, especially in my church, I'm gonna go with something noiseless. So I've been looking at Kinman pickups. If you don't know or haven't researched those, evidently, haven't tried them yet, but evidently they make fantastic hum canceling, or as he would say, zero hum pickups. So I'm gonna probably put a set of those in, just because our stage at church is super noisy, so any true single coils, it's kind of difficult to work with. But I will say, as many other people have mentioned on forums and whatnot, this neck feels incredible. It's a little chunky, which I really like. I recently put a new neck on my Strat that has Lambertone's Cremas in it, that you may have seen on other videos. It's kind of my primary guitar right now. It's a Warmoth neck. It's the standard thin neck, and that neck compared to I really liked that neck until I bought this guitar and felt this neck. I don't feel the frets at all on the sides here. It is totally dressed super well. Just the size of it, the feel in my hand. I do have kind of bigger hands. This is not a boat neck. It's not a thick neck by any stretch, but compared to like the Warmoth standard thin neck, this does have a bit more beef to it, and I really like it. It's also a satin on the back, and just kind of like my unfinished roasted maple neck there. It just feels really smooth in my hand. The action, yeah, I'm gonna probably end up shimming the neck back just a little bit, because the action is a little high. I have heard too that this bridge radius is not correct for some reason, and so the E strings, especially the low E and the high E strings, are further away from the frets than the center 4 strings. And so if you fret the 12th fret and then push down and see kind of where the action's at, it's true. So this low E and this high E, there's definitely more room there than say the B, the G, and the D, and the A strings. So those have better action, and then the low E and the high E kind of have higher action. So that to me is kind of a improper radius thing from this bridge piece. Obviously you can replace that, and that would take care of that. But the action's a tiny bit high. It's totally playable, and honestly, I don't really mind higher action, and you might not either. Some people go crazy about having to have super low action. You don't really need crazy low action, especially for most of what we do in the worship realm. We're not shredding. Even if you are, if you're good enough, you probably could still, whatever. That's a different discussion for a different day. Action's decent, but if I shim it, it would help the break angle on the bridge and also lower the action a little bit. So I'm gonna experiment with that. Like I said, I'll probably replace the pickups. And the one thing I wanna do kind of soon is replace the nut. I can just tell, it's a plastic nut. And the high E string has a little bit of tuning issue. When I try to tune it, it just sticks a little bit sometimes, and I think that's because there's just this plastic nut is not doing it any favors. But the tuning like heads themselves, as cheap as they are, they actually feel decent. The vibrato, surprisingly, this thing stays in tune pretty well. I've got to say, I'm surprised. Now, I'm obviously not like dive bombing or anything like that, but it really does stay in tune pretty well. The intonation could use a tiny bit of work, and that's kind of an easy thing that I'll probably do. I didn't do that for this video. I didn't want to touch anything. So, and then another silly like cosmetic thing that I'll probably do is I'll try to darken this neck a little bit. This Indian Laurel fretboard is a little light colored, to my taste. And there's a few products that I've been looking into. Maybe I'll drop a card that could possibly help darken it up and give it just like a better look overall. But I would say, again, kind of just to conclude this video, made in China, J Mascis, Squire, $500 off the shelf. It is totally worth it. I would highly recommend it. And it's a super fun platform to upgrade on. Don't know if I mentioned it before, but a lot of what I'm reading on the forums say that the pick guard is the exact same layout as the American AVRI stuff. And so you can really just like drag and drop pick guards, and a lot of these parts are the same as the American stuff, so it's very easy to swap them in. There might be some issues with the bridge you might have to look up, but a lot of these things are super upgradable and kind of easy to do over time. And so if you're looking for a cheap entry into a Jazzmaster and then you want to upgrade it over time, this is perfect. That's my plan. I'll probably bring you along in the journey as I do that. But again, thanks for checking out this video. If you wouldn't mind, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, and you can like it if you liked it, of course. And drop a comment in the comments. What do you think about this guitar? Did you like the tone? What do you have it? What would you recommend? Are there any mods that you've done that you would recommend? And maybe what other guitars in this price range are you checking out that may be a steal and a bargain for the community to get their hands on? Anyway, thanks for checking this out. We'll see you in the next one. Hope you are loving your community and being loved in Jesus' name, and using your craft to help people encounter the living God. See you next time.